Ever wondered why the English language has so many French words? Well, the answer to that lies in the heart of a pivotal event that took place in the 11th century, the Battle of Hastings. This was not just a battle, but a turning point that reshaped the course of English history and culture. Let's set the stage. It's the year 1066, and England's king, Edward the Confessor, has just passed away. Edward, known for his piety, left behind a kingdom but no clear successor to the throne. This sparked a fierce contention, a power vacuum waiting to be filled by the most ambitious and determined. Three claimants stepped forward, each with their own reasons to believe they were the rightful heir. First was Harold Godwinson, Edward's brother-in-law and the Earl of Wessex. Harold was a powerful figure in England with a strong support base and the backing of the White Nagemot, the council of wise men who held significant influence. The second claimant was Harald Hardrada, the Viking king of Norway. Known for his relentless courage and military prowess, Hardrada believed that a previous agreement with a former English king gave him the right to the throne. Last but not least, there was William, Duke of Normandy. He claimed that Edward, who had spent his early years in exile in Normandy, had promised him the throne. To add fuel to the fire, William also accused Harold of swearing on sacred relics to support his claim, a promise he alleged Harold later broke. So there we have it, three men, each with a claim to the throne, each with an army to back him. In a world where power was often won by the sword, the stage was set for a showdown, a battle for the ages, a fight for the throne of England. So, we have three contenders for the throne, but only one can wear the crown. Let's see how this unfolds. It began not with a whisper, but with a roar, at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This was not a battle of mere tactical significance, but a defining moment that set the stage for the events to come. The date was September 25th, 1066, and two mighty forces were about to collide on the field of Stamford Bridge. On one side stood the English king, Harold Godwinson, and on the other, the Viking invader, Harald Hardrada. The clash was fierce, brutal, and bloody. The English, under Harold's command, emerged victorious. But this victory came at a steep price. Harold's forces, though triumphant, were severely depleted. The men who survived were fatigued, their morale was low, and the spectre of another impending battle loomed large. The toll was not only in terms of men lost, but also in the diminished strength of those who remained. Harold himself bore the weight of this victory heavily, his eyes already set on the southern coast and the Norman threat that lay in wait. But in the wake of Stamford Bridge, there was no time for rest or respite. Harold's victory, as significant as it was, merely served as the prelude to a larger conflict. The real battle, the one that would redefine the course of English history, was just over the horizon. Little did Harold know, his most formidable challenge was yet to come. October 14th, 1066, a date that would forever change the course of English history. The Battle of Hastings, a turning point in medieval Europe, was an epic clash between two formidable foes. Harold Godwinson, the newly crowned Anglo-Saxon King of England, and William, Duke of Normandy, also known as William the Conqueror. The strategies employed by both sides were as unique as the leaders themselves. William, leading a well-rested Norman army, employed a mix of infantry, archers, and cavalry. This was a stark contrast to Harold's heavy infantry, consisting primarily of housecarls, his elite warriors, and a band of hastily assembled militia known as the Fyrd. William's strategy was to use his archers to weaken Harold's shield wall, followed by a charge from his infantry and cavalry. However, the English shield wall held firm, repelling the Norman attacks time and time again. It was a grueling stalemate, a testament to the resilience of the Anglo-Saxon Fyrd and the housecarls. Meanwhile, Harold, standing atop Senlac Hill with his brothers Gurth and Leofwine, commanded his troops with determined resolve. But the tide of battle began to turn when the Normans, in a stroke of tactical genius, feigned retreat. The Anglo-Saxon forces broke their shield wall, chasing after what they believed to be a fleeing enemy. It was a fatal mistake. This feigned flight led to the death of Harold, a moment that has been immortalized in the Bayeux Tapestry. Though accounts vary, most agree that Harold met his end due to an arrow striking his eye. His brothers, Gurth and Leofwine, also fell in the battle, leaving the English leaderless and in disarray. Without their king, the English forces began to crumble. The Normans, seizing the opportunity, launched a final devastating assault. By the time the sun set on that fateful day in October, The field was littered with the bodies of the fallen, the once formidable shield wall now just a memory. The Battle of Hastings was not just a battle for a crown, it was a battle for a kingdom, a battle for a way of life that would be forever altered. The Anglo-Saxon era was at an end, and the Norman era was about to begin. By nightfall, William stood victorious on the battlefield, England's fate sealed with the death of its king. The Battle of Hastings was over, but the Norman conquest had just begun. In the wake of the battle, the English crown changed hands. The victor, William the Conqueror, as he came to be known, was crowned King of England on Christmas Day in the year 1066. The coronation marked the beginning of a new era, one that would leave an indelible imprint on the pages of English history. The changes were both immediate and far-reaching. The English nobility was swiftly replaced by a Norman ruling class, and English laws were altered to reflect Norman customs. Feudalism became the dominant social and economic system, with the king at the top, followed by his vassals, and then the serfs who worked the land. But perhaps the most profound change was in the English language. The Norman influence infused the Anglo-Saxon tongue with a wealth of French words, enriching the vocabulary and adding a new layer of complexity to the language. It was during this period that English started to morph into the language we know today. Words of power and prestige like court, justice, and honor are all Norman imports. The cultural landscape of England also underwent significant changes. The Normans brought with them a sophisticated taste for architecture, as evidenced by the many castles and cathedrals that sprang up across the country. The iconic Tower of London, for instance, was a Norman creation. However, the transition was not smooth. The English resisted the Norman rule, and it took William nearly 5 years to fully secure his reign. The resistance culminated in the brutal harrying of the north, where William scorched vast areas of northern England to quell the rebellions. Yet, despite the resistance, the Norman conquest was transformative. It was more than a simple change of guard. It was a revolution that altered the trajectory of English history, reshaping the language, the culture, and the socio-political landscape. The Norman conquest was not just a change of rulers, it was a revolution that shaped modern England. Over 950 years later, the echoes of the Battle of Hastings still resonate. This monumental event, a turning point in history, continues to shape the world we know today. It's not just about the crowning of a new king or the establishment of a new order. The Battle of Hastings was the catalyst for a cultural fusion that would forever change the English language and societal norms. The influence of the Norman conquest spread far beyond the borders of England. It sparked a domino effect that rippled through centuries, influencing systems of governance, law, and culture throughout Europe and beyond. The Battle of Hastings was not merely a violent clash on a muddy field. It was a clash of cultures, a meeting point of old and new worlds. In popular culture, the Battle of Hastings and the Norman conquest have been immortalized through literature, film, and even video games. They serve as a reminder of our collective past, a testament to the human capacity for change, resilience, and adaptability. The Battle of Hastings was a crucible, a moment in time where the future of a nation was decided. It was a defining moment that set the course for the development of the English language, the establishment of a new social order, and the shaping of the modern world. So the next time you use a French word in English, you know who to thank. William the Conqueror, victor of the Battle of Hastings.